How are you guys doing? Today is Monday, March 29th, 2021, out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I plan on doing a preview for the Elite Eight round of the men's March Madness tournament. As we started out with 68 teams, we are now down to 8. And in the next couple of days, we will see that bracket shrink to 4. But in the meantime, I'm going to explain as to how all 8 of these teams have gotten here and what to look forward to today and tomorrow. So, looking out to the first Elite 8 matchup out of the 4, jumping to the Midwest region, it'll be a final matchup between 2-seed Houston and 12-seed Oregon State. And, of course, this is the Midwest region where the number 1 seed was Illinois. They eventually got knocked out by Loyola Chicago. But looking at how both these teams got there, 2-seed Houston was able to get here after beating 15-seed Cleveland State 87-56 in the first round, where they ended up meeting Rutgers in the second round. Rutgers was the 10-seed, and they ended up beating Clemson, the 7-seed. So Houston was able to face off against Rutgers in the second round, and in the second round, 2-seed Houston was able to beat 10-seed Rutgers by 3, just barely after they were able to come from behind and pick up a good amount of free throws in the stretch, which would advance them to the Sweet 16. And in Saturday's matchup, 2-seed Houston would face off against 11-seed Syracuse, and they were able to pull up a 62-46 win after they outscored Syracuse by 10 points in the first half. And they also outscored them by 6 in the second, and they were able to hold Buddy Boeheim to 12 points, led by Justin Gorham's 13 points and 10 rebounds. And so that's how Houston was able to get here. Looking at the other side of this, 12-seed Oregon State in their first matchup was able to beat 5-seed Tennessee. And this is, of course, after Oregon State had to win the Pac-12 in order to make it into the tournament in the first place. But after they were able to upset 5-seed Tennessee in the first round, they faced off against 4-seed Oklahoma State, led by who might possibly be the number 1 pick in the 2021 draft, Cade Cunningham. And in that matchup, Oregon State would beat 4-seed Oklahoma State by 10. They won 80-70 to get them through the first weekend. And coming into this weekend, they faced off against 8-seed Loyola Chicago, the team that ended up beating number 1 Illinois. And in that matchup, Oregon State would end up beating Loyola Chicago 65-58, led by their guard out of California, Ethan Thompson, who had 22 points of his own. The big difference coming in the first half, where Oregon State was able to outscore Loyola Chicago by 8, holding them to 16 total points as a team. And Oregon State, being the team that defied the odds, they were able to make it here. Now their next matchup will be against 2-seed Houston. That'll be the best team they faced so far. So, of course, it'll be a test. And this game will be on CBS tonight at 7:15. And the winner of this matchup will face off against the winner of the South region's Elite Eight matchup. And in the South region, the final will be between 1-seed Baylor and 3-seed Arkansas. I'm going to give a little bit of background into how both these teams got here. Of course, the number 1 seed in this bracket was Baylor. So in the first matchup, they were able to beat 16-seed Hartford 79-55 pretty convincingly. And after that, they had to face off against 9-seed Wisconsin, who ended up mollywopping 8-seed North Carolina in the first round. In round 2, Baylor would beat Wisconsin pretty comfortably 76-63 to earn them a spot into the Sweet 16 this weekend. And then looking out to how they fared on Saturday, they were able to 1-seed Baylor was able to beat 5th-seed Villanova 62-51 after they were trailing by 7 at the half. They outscored Villanova by 18 in the second half to give them their win. They were led by their guard Adam Flagler, and now, as of right now, Baylor is still alive and they are ready to face off against their opponents. And they're able to face off against now Arkansas. 3-seed Arkansas was able to make it here after they beat 14-seed Colgate in the first round, 85-68 by 17. In round 2, they were able to barely squeak by Texas Tech, as Texas Tech missed the layup in the second round, so they would earn a spot in the Sweet 16. And in this matchup, 3-seed Arkansas was able to beat 15-seed Oral Roberts, the hot team who upset 2nd-seed Ohio State and 7th-seed Florida. But in this matchup, Arkansas would take this one down to the very end, and they would end up beating Oral Roberts 72-70 after trailing by 7 at half. They outscored Oral Roberts by 9 in the second half, and led by Jalen Tate's 22 points and 6 assists. Arkansas, of course, has secured a spot for themselves to face off against Baylor. This game will be today at 9:57. This game will be on CBS, and the winner of this matchup will face off against the winner between 2-seed Houston and 12-seed Oregon State next weekend. And then looking out to what's going to happen on Tuesday, it'll be tomorrow. We can say tomorrow. It'll be a 1-6 matchup in the West region between 1-seed Gonzaga and 6-seed USC to decide who will go to the Final Four. Of course, the 1 seed in this bracket was Gonzaga, and Gonzaga, first of all, came into this tournament undefeated. They won their division as well. They won their tournament. In the first matchup, they would face off against 16-seed Norfolk State, who had to play in to get into this game. Gonzaga would beat Norfolk State by 43 points, winning 98-55. And after that, they would face off against 8-seed Oklahoma in the second round. And after Oklahoma had to play very close to perfect, Gonzaga would still end up beating Oklahoma by 16. They won 87-71. And that would secure a spot for Gonzaga in the Sweet 16 against Creighton. And in yesterday's matchup, they would end up beating 5-seed Creighton 83-65. They were, of course, led by their guard, Andrew Nembhard. And Nembhard's 17 points would end up giving them what they needed to get right by. They outscored Creighton by 10 in the first half and 8 in the second. So it was a very comfortable win for Gonzaga. They were the better team, and that's how they secured a spot for themselves here. And 6-seed USC, first off, they were able to beat 11-seed Drake, who I think had to play in. They beat Wichita State to get here. In game 1, USC beat Drake 72-56 to secure a spot for them against 3-seed Kansas. In the second round, they would end up not just upsetting 3-seed Kansas, they would blow them out the water. They would win by 34 points. They beat them 85-51 to secure a spot for themselves in the Sweet 16 this weekend. And yesterday, they were able to beat 7-seed Oregon 82-68 pretty comfortably. They outscored Oregon by 15 points in order to get this advantage in the first place. The second half was pretty even, but they were, of course, led by their guard, Isaiah White, who had 22 points and 5 rebounds. So, of course, that is how USC was able to secure a spot against Gonzaga. This matchup will be at 7:15 on TBS tomorrow. The winner of this matchup will face off against the winner between 1-seed Michigan and 11-seed UCLA in the East region at 9:57. So, of course, with Michigan being the third number 1 seed to make it to the Elite Eight, they, of course, made it here by beating 16-seed Texas Southern, who had to play in to face off against Michigan. Michigan beat this team 82-66 to earn a spot for them in the second round, where they beat 8-seed LSU 86-78. In a closer game than they thought it would be, but they still won it pretty comfortably. They would earn a spot for them in the Sweet 16, where they faced off against 4-seed Florida State last night. And in that matchup, they would end up beating Florida State 76-58. They outscored Florida State by 11 points in the first and 7 in the second, so it was a very comfortable win for them. They were led by their guard, Franz Wagner, who had 13 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. And Michigan now has earned a spot for them here. 11-seed UCLA has played the most amount of games so far in this tournament. They first played in the playoff for the 11 seed, where they beat 11-seed Michigan State 86-80, and so they would earn a spot for them to face off in the first round against 6-seed BYU. In the first game, they would beat BYU 73-62 pretty comfortably to earn themselves a spot in the second round. They ended up beating 14-seed Abilene Christian after Abilene Christian beat Texas. But after that matchup, after UCLA beat Abilene Christian by 20, they earned a spot for themselves in the Sweet 16 against 2-seed Alabama. And in yesterday's game, they were able to upset Alabama, winning 88-78 in overtime. They were trailing, UCLA was leading by 11 at the half. Alabama would tie it up with a deep 3 to make it here. But of course, UCLA outscored them in overtime pretty comfortably. Jaime Jaquez's step back 3 would be the nail in the coffin to give them the win, and now they will face off against 1-seed Michigan State, and the winner of that matchup will face off against the winner between 1-seed Gonzaga and 6-seed USC as we start to see the college tournament start to take shape. And as of right now, that is what the Elite Eight is looking like as of today, Monday, March 29th, 2021, out here in this quarantine. I want to thank you all once again for listening to this piece. I hope all is well. I'm James Sims, and this is The Elite. I hope to catch you tomorrow. Peace out.